Welcome. This is the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, and we are so glad that you've made it to a calmer corner of your day. Here, we focus on real solutions, practical help, and the kind of encouragement we could all use a little more of. So let's get to it.
Welcome to today's Senior Safety Advice Daily Tips Podcast. It's your daily moment of calm, guidance, and encouragement as we navigate aging, caregiving, and living well together. I'm Robin Schultz, Certified Dementia Specialist, and today I want to talk about a feeling that many caregivers rarely admit out loud: resentment. Now, before you feel guilty for even hearing the word or thinking it, take a breath. Feeling resentment as a caregiver doesn't mean you don't love the person you're caring for. It really just means you're human. Because let's be honest, caregiving is one of the most demanding roles anyone can take on. It asks for your time, your energy, and your heart. And some days it feels like there's not much left for yourself. Maybe you've thought, why do I have to do all of this? Why don't my siblings help more? Maybe you've caught yourself snapping at your loved one and then immediately feeling awful afterwards. Well, I've heard those same words from so many caregivers over the years, and truthfully, I've been there and I've felt them myself. So today, let's explore how to handle caregiver resentment, not by ignoring it or judging ourselves, but by meeting it with compassion. When resentment shows up, it's usually a sign that something deeper is going on. It might be exhaustion or grief or simply the weight of too many responsibilities. Most caregivers don't set out to feel resentful. It builds slowly from a lack of sleep, from missed breaks, from the constant push to do it all, to get everything done. And the tricky part is that caregivers are often praised for their strength, so they feel like they can't really express their frustration because they think they'll be seen as ungrateful or selfish. But here's the truth. Resentment is often your inner voice saying, I need help. So what can you do when you first start to feel it? Well, first, acknowledge it without shame. It is okay to say I'm overwhelmed or this feels really unfair. Naming what you feel does not make you a bad caregiver. Makes you an honest one, though, and that honesty is the first step toward healing. It might be helpful if you write down what's been building up. Things like, I miss having time to myself. I feel invisible in my own family. I'm tired of being the only one making decisions. Getting feelings like that out of your head and onto paper can release some of the tension that's been living in your body. And let's look at what's underneath the resentment. Ask yourself, am I getting enough rest? Do I feel supported? Have I had any moments of happiness lately? Often resentment grows when your needs are being ignored, even by you. When you start to meet those needs, the resentment begins to soften. It could be as simple as scheduling a real break, not a break that means running errands, but something that actually restores you. Maybe it's taking a little time to read, or take a short walk, or meet a friend for coffee. You don't have to earn your rest. You deserve the rest simply because you are human. Another powerful step is reframing your thoughts with compassion. When you notice yourself thinking, I can't believe I have to do everything, try gently shifting it to, this is really hard, and I'm proud of myself for doing the best I can. That change might sound small, but it can be deeply healing. Self-compassion doesn't erase the challenges, but it reminds you that you are worthy of kindness, especially from yourself. You can also extend that compassion toward the loved one you're caregiving for. Sometimes resentment builds when that person seems demanding, ungrateful, or mean, but underneath their behavior, oftentimes there's fear and confusion and loss of control. Seeing that does not excuse the behavior, but it does help you to respond from a calmer place. You can really think, they're scared right now, instead of, man, they're always trying to make my life harder. It's also important to seek help without guilt. No one can do caregiving alone, not for long anyway. Ask family members to take over specific tasks, even small ones like grocery shopping or cleaning. If they can't, look into respite services, adult day programs, or volunteer organizations that give caregivers a few hours of relief. You may need to ask people more than once, and that's okay. And be specific for what you're asking for. Don't just say, "I need help." Usually people will do better if they have a task, so you could say to your sister, "Can you please go grocery shopping for Mom and I?" For example, makes it much easier for her to step in because she knows what she needs to do. So sometimes, like I said, if resentment has started to affect your mental health, you might consider talking to a counselor who understands caregiver stress, or get on a support group. There are plenty of them online. You don't even have to go anywhere. But sometimes having a safe space to say what's on your mind can help you to lighten your load. Now, something I've seen happen many times is when caregivers start to give themselves compassion, they start to reconnect with the parts of caregiving that once felt meaningful, those small moments of tenderness, the shared laughter, even the quiet companionship with the person you're caregiving for. But that connection cannot grow out of guilt. It has to grow out of grace. You are not failing because you feel resentful. You're just noticing that your heart needs care too. So tonight, if that familiar wave of frustration rises again, try putting your hand over your heart and saying quietly, "I am doing enough. I deserve kindness too." Even those few words can begin to shift the way you feel inside. As we wrap up today, I want you to remember this. Resentment doesn't make you a bad caregiver. It's simply an emotion asking for attention. When you meet it with compassion, not criticism, it becomes a guide pointing you back to balance. You don't have to carry everything alone. You're allowed to rest, you're allowed to ask for help, and you're allowed to care for yourself just as much as you care for your loved one, because you matter too. So thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode brought a little calm or understanding to your day, share it with someone who might need that reminder as well. You'll find more gentle reflections and resources for caregivers and seniors at seniorsafetyadvice.com. And be sure to come back tomorrow for another daily moment of calm, guidance, and encouragement, right here on the Senior Safety Advice Podcast. Until next time, take care of yourself and the ones you love. Bye.
This podcast is part of our mission to help older adults live safely and independently. If you'd like to take the next step, visit aginginplacedirectory.com, where you'll find specialists, helpful resources, and inspiration to make every home your place to thrive.